Good morning. Welcome to day 90, May 18th. It's 8 o'clock. I'm just leaving 501 shelter, and the road noise you hear behind me is Pennsylvania 501. Thus the name 501 shelter. Had a good night last night. The mice were not an issue, although I thought they found the pizza box about 5 o'clock this morning. But it was something else they were chewing on. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't anything of mine. And nobody else said anything about having stuff chewed on. But there's a huge skylight in the middle of that shelter. And right as it was getting dark, I already saw a mouse come out on the floor. So I thought there was going to be an issue, but everybody hung all their stuff up. So it was mostly the trash area where they were messing around. So I met a flip-flopper yesterday named Ash, and he was at the shelter, and he was the only one that ordered pizza because everybody else thought that it was too expensive. By the time he paid the delivery charge and the tip and got a soda, it was almost $30. But it arrived and he was eating it, and somebody asked him how it was, and he said he wasn't a fan of it. And he says, as a matter of fact, if you guys want some, and there were exactly 5 pieces left, and there were 5 of us, so everybody had one slice of pierogi pizza. And I like pierogies, so I thought it was really good. I could have eaten quite a bit of it and not gotten tired of it. And people tried to offer him money, you know, a couple bucks for the slices, and he said, no, don't worry about it. And so one guy says, well, you know, we'll get you something sometime later up the trail, because the trail provides. And Ash was having issues with his shoes. He had a pair of Keens that he had worn quite a bit before coming out to thru hike, and they were delaminating. The soles were coming off. One of them was at least halfway off. It looked like it could come completely off at any time. The reason I'm looking down is a lot of rocks. Back to Ash's soles of his Keens. And when I came in to that shelter yesterday, I looked in a hiker box, and I had seen a pair of boots in there. I didn't pick them up because I didn't need them. They were like older style ankle high hiking boots. And so this morning when they were talking about his shoes, and he said he was going to try to make it to Cabela's in Hamburg to get a new pair of shoes. Well, he's got to hike 23 miles to get to the road to hitch to Cabela's, or walk in a couple miles to Cabela's, depending on the circumstances. And these sharp rocks I'm walking over, if one of those soles was to come off, he'd have a really rough time doing that 23 miles. So this morning I went over and looked in a hiker box, took a closer look at those shoes, and they were Vask, and they looked like they were in pretty decent shape, kind of an older style. But I said, hey Ash, what size shoe do you wear? He said 9.5. And I looked on the inside of the shoe, it was a 9.5 wide. I said, there's a pair of boots here that are 9.5 wide if you want to take a look at them. He's like, that's crazy, my exact size. And how weird is that? And so he grabbed them and took them over, put his, he had Superfeet insoles, put those in there, and put them on. He said, yeah, these fit. These are going to do. So, you know, they say the trail provides. And that's probably the most uncanny incidence of the trail providing that I've seen or even heard of. So he's going to stay at the same shelter that I'm going to stay at tonight. So I'm a little anxious to see how they did for him. Of course, if they've been in there a long time, they're dry rotted and they fall apart on them immediately, then I'm going to feel bad. I don't know if he intended to carry the old canes with him or not. But unless the sole comes completely off with those Vask, he'll be better off than he was. Oh, finally got a reprieve from the rocks. So today doing 15.5 to Eagle's Nest Shelter. And I wish I could do more, but there's no other shelter options, and it's supposed to rain again this evening. And I'm just trying to keep my stuff as dry as possible, especially my tent. I don't want to carry a wet tent. That's going to be it for this morning. If anything of interest comes up, I will try to take some video. Until then, this is Reboot, heading north. This is the view from Shower Steps. I don't know why it's called Shower Steps, but there's a trail name for it. It's 1:45 and I've made it to Eagle's Nest Shelter. And this is where I'm going to be staying for the night. Another short day. And I don't know who left this bag of garbage here, but that's not very sound for bears and raccoons and other things. It says it holds 8, but it's a pretty big shelter for just 8. Alright, I'm going to eat some lunch. So I was sitting back at the shelter and I started looking at the weather, and it showed some clouds on the radar, but the forecast said 0% chance of precipitation until 2 a.m. So I thought to myself, why are you sitting at this shelter when it's not raining and it's low 60s and it's a good afternoon to hike? And I decided that I'd try to get some more miles in before the day was over, instead of just sitting around the shelter. And that was 2 hours ago. And I think I've done about 4 miles maybe. I hope so. But it's 7 into Port Clinton. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I have plenty of daylight for sure. We'll just see if that weather prediction holds up. They're supposed to be camping at the picnic pavilion in town. So let's hope that that holds true. Otherwise, I may be looking for a shuttle into Hamburg to the microtel. All right, we'll see you in Port Clinton. This is going to be the wrap-up video for day 90. This is the picnic pavilion for Port Clinton. And there's a church that maintains it, the United Methodist Church. And we're all set up with our mats inside there. A couple people have set up their tents inside there, which if I had a freestanding tent, I would probably do that because we're calling for about 2 inches of rain starting about 2 a.m. this morning. So hopefully it won't blow in on me. There is no potable water here, but they do have several gallons of water that you can use in gallon jugs. And there's also another little picnic pavilion over there where some other thru hikers have a fire going next to the river. So that's pretty cool. And this is all free. And on the way over here, it's probably at least 3/10 of a mile walk from the trail, but I went to the Port Clinton restaurant and hotel, and I got a cheeseburger and fries and a piece of peanut butter blast cake, which I haven't eaten yet, but the cheeseburger is really good, and there were too many fries. I couldn't eat them all. So feeling pretty good with some town food. I've got a dry place to stay for the night. I got mostly dry today. So because of all that, it's all good in the woods.